Hello class! I just got finished grading the Module 10 Analysis assignments and I wanted to make a video announcement because there's a few points I wanted to make and make sure that we're clear on. One is in regards to pretty much all the analysis assignments that when I'm asking you to explain something or asking you why or why not, I'm expecting a full explanation in multiple sentences addressed to me as though I don't know what I'm talking about. So of course I know the answers already. What I'm looking for is a full explanation of you explaining as though you're explaining to somebody who doesn't understand so that you can show me how you understand the situation. Which means one sentence usually isn't going to be enough. So you want to do a full explanation where you're saying, all right, here's my direct answer, now let me explain what this means. And you want to use proper vocabulary during that, meaning you also want to avoid the use of pronouns. You want to avoid the use of things like it. When you say it, it's not clear what you're talking about. So you want to make sure you're clear by using the proper vocabulary and fully explain what those words represent. Now lastly, another common misconception I want to address that's really important for this particular module is what a confidence interval is. More importantly, what a confidence interval isn't. So a confidence interval is not giving us an interval that talks about individual points. It's not talking about values from the sample. The confidence interval is an estimate of our population parameter. Remember that when it comes to a population, we don't really have a way of measuring something for an entire population. Instead, we take a sample of that population, a smaller group that's representative. We can then look at a proportion or at a mean or something that we want to measure within that sample, and we can then say, hey, this is probably similar for the whole population. How similar? Well, it might be off a little bit based on how good our sample was. How much that's off for the population, that's what the confidence interval is. The confidence interval is this interval of values that says, hey, our population's value is probably in here. So this is not talking about individual values. So don't confuse this with our range of usual values or our range rule of thumb. So remember that the range rule of thumb was way back earlier in the course when we did this whole 2 standard deviations away from the mean thing, and that's where 95% of your individual values fall. That's not a confidence interval. A confidence interval is this interval that says my population mean, so the average for the whole population, or else if we're talking about proportions, the population proportion, so what percentage of the population believes something or answered a certain way. The confidence interval is this interval that says that population parameter is likely within this range. Completely different from individual values. I just want to make sure I'm stressing that this confidence interval is an estimate of a population proportion.